The idea we still allow semi-automatic weapons to be purchased is sick.
Welcome to I Just Have to Say Something. The banner for the Democratic Party should be never let a crisis go to waste. Never cease to take advantage of the ignorance of the American people. Never cease to take advantage of the emotions of the American people. It is really quite sickening. And when many people ask me as a Hispanic, why aren't you a Democrat? It's because of these tactics. I find that Democrats are usually never transparent and honest to what their true goals and objectives are. They're using people's ignorance and they're using their emotions to drive an outcome that they want. That usually is not in my best interest. Let's check out this video.
Well, in the wake of all these shootings, this time in Virginia and Colorado, President Biden says he still wants to get an assault weapons ban passed in Congress, but with just over a month until Republicans take control of the House, Democrats have a short window to move on really any of the administration's priorities. Here was the president yesterday.
The idea we still allow semi-automatic weapons to be purchased is sick. It's just sick. It has no social redeeming value. Zero, none. Not a single solitary rationale for it except profit for the gun manufacturer.
So the president says there's no rationale for owning a semi-automatic weapon. But the truth is that the vast majority, upwards to over 90% of the weapons sold for defensive purposes in the United States are semi-automatic, from simple 10/22 rifles to the most commonly used Glock 19 to everything in between. So by banning semi-automatic weapons, what he is stating that he wants to ban 90%, over 90% of all guns that are commonly used throughout America for everything from clinking to hunting to self-defense for all Americans. And that's not acceptable. And I love the way that the president uses the people's ignorance to conflate semi-automatic weapons with assault weapons. They are not the same thing. Assault weapons have been banned for sale in the United States for many decades now. You can't get them. And if you can go through the process of getting them, they're very expensive and it's very time consuming. It's not something you're going to run to your corner gun store and just get off the shelf. It ain't going to happen. Also, Mr. President, another thing that you don't mention is that semi-automatic and automatic weapons are used to protect you and your family. They're not good enough for me to protect my family. Hell, I don't even want an automatic weapon. I've had automatic weapons when I was in the service. They're kind of cool to play with at first, but in reality, for self-defense purposes, semi-auto is just fine with me. But for those who want one, hey, you pass the process, you do away with the NFA. I don't care. The point being is that this guy wants to take away the vast majority of guns that are used to defend the average American that are subject to weak liberal policies on crime. And that's just unacceptable to be weak on crime and then take the only effective defensive tool away from the public so they can protect themselves from predatory criminals that just don't care about your gun laws and they don't care about the consequences because there aren't any from the laws that they violate.
Can you do anything about gun laws during the lame duck, sir?
I'm going to try.
What will you try and do?
I'm going to try to get rid of assault weapons.
During the lame duck?
I'm going to do it whenever I got to make that assessment as I get in and start counting the votes.
And let's see what happens. I don't think this is going to go anywhere. It's just good for fundraising because really that's what gun control is all about. They talk about stopping violence, but they never talk about criminal justice reform in a positive way where you're holding the bad people responsible for what they do. It's always about busting the balls of the law-abiding. So when people ask me why I don't vote Democrat, this is exactly why. I don't see them being advocates for free speech. I don't see them being an advocate for the Second Amendment. I see them attacking the police. And I get that there are opportunities for improvement within law enforcement, but you can't take my voice away. You can't take my gun away. You can't take my law enforcement away. You can't stop holding criminals accountable and say, well, as long as, I'm a limousine liberal and the violence doesn't affect me, I'll come and visit you every 4 years as long as I get your vote. And I promise I may make it better this time around. For those minorities that are listening to this channel, I'm just going to ask you to do one thing. Look around. You've been voting the same way for decades. and look around your neighborhoods, look at your schools, look at your communities. Are they any better? And start thinking about what you're doing and are they really serious about making things better for anybody, especially the minority communities. Please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thank you for listening to I Just Have Something to Say, a conservative Hispanic perspective on 2A, politics, and civil rights.